Rejection can be difficult to handle, especially when it keeps happening over and over again. Today, we are joined by the group RCC, and they will share their strategies for coping with rejection and how to keep moving forward. We'll get into it after I hit this music. Joining me this week is 2/3 of the group RCC, Reach and Kudos. Guys, thanks so much for coming on today.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
Rejection can be a major player on your confidence, especially if you have like yourself as musicians. You're an artist, you have a great product, but you keep hearing no. So tell us about RCC, and we'll go right from there.
Yeah, like you said, rejection is tough. You work so hard for something, you put everything into it, and you think it's a really good product. You're like, everyone's gonna love this, because everyone in the studio is excited. You're excited about it, and it's not always well received the way you think it is going to be received. So that makes it really tough when you're working with your art, your creativity. It's a very vulnerable place to be, for sure.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet up? Like how did RCC start?
Well, we're actually siblings, so we met when we were babies.
Okay.
We actually were raised in music. So our dad, he was a part of a group called Family Circle, which he was actually with his brothers and sisters as well. So they were big on the East Coast. He's got a lot of artists today that actually sample his music. We got The Game, Fabulous, 50, J. Cole. A lot of them sample his music. Just recently, Drake and J. Cole did a song that sampled his stuff. And then my mom also, she did some traveling with music. So we were just raised in the music. So as of 2018, I believe, we were all making a song, which Kudos, he actually started the song. He had a solid idea. He had a chorus, he had a verse, and he was like, hey, Reach and Sherelle, do you guys want to get on this song? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. We get on the song. Our dad's in the studio. He's mixing. We're doing some different things or whatever. And the song came out so good. And our dad was like, y'all should become a group. And we were like, never thought of that. So there it goes. We just ended up, we were like, okay, fine, let's do a group. And then that's how it happened. We were normally just individual artists, but it happened in a split second. We were just like, okay, yeah, let's be a group. And then that's how it happened.
Okay. Is Sherelle your sister?
Yeah.
Okay. So RCC is like a family thing. It's just a family group. That's right. Awesome. Yeah. So how long does it take to make one song, from like the beginning of writing it down to putting it out there?
It really depends, like, on the inspiration and on kind of like how well it flows. Some songs come together like if you're talking about recording and putting it like finished product, I think same thing. It took us about not very long to record it, maybe like a weekend to record that one, and then we had it mixed and mastered like a week after. And then there's some songs that we're still working on, like that we've been working on for like months. It just really depends on how well it comes together, the inspiration, things like that.
Right.
So was there a song that took you months to write, record, and then when you were finally finished with it, you're excited and you heard like, nah, this ain't good?
Yeah, that does happen.
I think the song
sometimes you can psych yourself out by waiting too long. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was saying I think the song Stuck took a while, to write. And then because I had to write my verse and my sister's verse, we were all doing rapping, and my sister's normally a singer, so she doesn't normally rap. So I ended up writing that, and Kudos had his part down. And it just took a long time in the studio to get a finished product because we kept psyching ourselves out. It's like, this just doesn't sound right. Oh, this good. And then you a lot of times when you get in the studio, you'll record something and then you'll send it to yourself so you can listen to it in the car and just see how it sounds versus inside the studio, because it's two different sounds. A lot of people don't know that. In the studio, it can sound super good, and then when you put it in your car and you're like, this doesn't sound good at all, man. Like our vocals are too high, the beat's too low, the beat's too high, vocals too low. So it's just all those leveling things. So Stuck, yeah, we played with that for a long time, and we finally got it to a place where we loved it. So yeah. Now,
when you finished that song Stuck and you put it out there, what was the feedback?
I think it was mostly good. It kind of depended on a lot of things. I would say it was mostly good, especially when we performed it, because it's like a high energy song and it really gets the crowd going. But then there was like platforms online that we would send our music to, and then sometimes it wouldn't get as good of a response. And people would say, "Oh, it sounds like a song from like early 2000s or the 90s, something we've already heard, things like that. So it kind of sometimes depended on the platform we were doing it at. Live performances went really well. Sometimes online it was iffy.
Yeah.
Was there a song that you guys made and you thought it was like the best song, that this is the best you've ever written, and it totally bombed?
There's a song, that I've written when I was, doing my individual music. Can't remember what it was called, but there was a guy that I met at one of my dad's press release parties, and he liked what we were doing on stage, and he was like, "Man, I like your stage presence." And to remind you, I was just an individual artist at the time. And he said, "I got a beat for you, if you want to start writing music," because he actually produced Megan Trainor, the girl that did I'm All About That Bass. So he sent me a beat, and he was like, "Yeah, let's work together." So he sent me a beat. I did a song called She Likes Me that I loved. He loved it too. So he's like, "All right, we're going to do another song." And he's like, "I'm going to send you another beat." So he sent me another beat. And it was like an EDM type thing. And I wrote something to it, and I had a friend rap to it. And I was like, "This is kind of cool." And I sent it to him. He was like, "Dude, that is trash." I was like, "Oh, man. That's
Man.
I was like, "Dang." So he was like, "Yeah." And then he stopped working with me after that. So, that was definitely a wake-up call. Had a little bit of rejection, but I was just happy that he did love the first one. It showed that I didn't lose complete hope in my abilities. Yeah, that was tough.
Okay.
You won't find that song.
So how do you guys go? What's that?
I said, you'll never find that song. I threw it away.
Okay. So what's the process of going where you're at right now, getting your music out there to getting it like signed by a label? Have you guys tried doing that? And if so, what was the response from the label?
We actually had, so we were putting our music out there, and we were contacted by I think it was a publishing company or like a promotion company called Entourage. So our process would basically like put it online, keep posting online, showing people what we have, all of our music. And Entourage messaged us and like, "Hey, we like your music. We have some connections to some labels." So we're like, "Oh, perfect." He's like, "Yeah, just keep working, keep your social media presence up." He's like, "Keep, making music, and then we'll get you connected with them." So we actually got connected with Atlantic Records eventually. Do you want to tell the rest of the story, Reach, on that?
Yeah, I can. So yeah, we connected with Atlantic Records. Can't remember the guy's name, but he was a really good A&R, and we were able to get like a video call with him. So we got connected. We're all three on the call. It was exciting. He seemed excited as well. He heard the song Stuck, the one that we just told you about. And he said, "Man, I really like that song. It does have like a early 2000s feel," which it seems like music is kind of going back to that. And he heard some of the other songs, and he was, it seemed like he wasn't as excited as about the other songs as he was Stuck. So with that being said, he just said, "Hey," so it came down to social media. So nowadays there's a lot of politics in the music. So if you don't have a huge following, even if your music is like super, super good, a lot of times labels won't take the chance on you. So he was telling us, he said, "Hey, I just want to keep it real with you guys. We have artists on our labels that we have them on there just because they have a huge following. They've went viral with one of their songs on TikTok. We signed them, but we don't really have artists that live and sleep music like you guys do. You guys are talented. I play piano. My brother plays guitar. My sister sings, so we've been raised in music." He's like, "We need artists like that." But he's like, "It's hard to bring your group to the table without that following. Even though your music is good, a lot of times they don't want to take a chance on that." So at the end of the day, he was like, "So you guys have to get a huger following. Otherwise, we can't really move forward." And that's kind of where it ended. So, that was tough.
So these people that they signed from TikTok, are they even musicians? I just don't understand. I'm just confused on that part.
That's the interesting thing. We actually talked about that with him. He was honest with us about that. He was like, a lot of these artists, they go viral on TikTok. He's like, but they don't have a stage presence. They don't know how to actually continue. That they have that one hit song, and then the labels use them for that one hit song, and then they're gone. And then they leave so quick. It's like a one hit wonder. So that's kind of what they've been banking on. They're successful for that one song, and then they don't have that artist anymore.
You think they would want to take that person and put them with a group like yours to get that following, and now they got that person who went viral, and they got the group who's talented.
That's a great idea.
Keep making money off of this.
Good.
Just running a business myself, that's what I would do.
I wish you were in the room talking when we were there.
Yeah,
That's
you're on the next song.
All right, there we go. I mean, that's to me, I mean, everybody wins. The person who has that one little hit wonder backed up by a talented group, go from there.
Right.
Well, go push that next time.
Yeah,
Right,
seriously,
right,
that's
right.
great.
Yeah. So reading on social media, the parts where people don't like your music, how do you guys handle that?
At first for me, it was really tough. Like, I am an introvert. I'm shy, like, for the most part. And I don't know, I was pretty sensitive at first to it because it's just, I didn't like that part of it. I was like, man, I worked so hard on this, and this is something that's mine. People are, not getting a good response from it. It was a very uncomfortable situation to be in for me, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, how about you, Reach?
You know, what's interesting is like when you say rejection, a lot of people instantly go to like someone saying something or like, hey, you're terrible, this and that. But when it comes to social media and you work on a project and you put it out and you're like, a lot of people are going to be receptive to this. And you start looking at that video and then you start looking at the analytics and you say, oh, okay, 100 people have seen this video, but nobody's saying anything. And then that you start to feel like, man, that's rejection because nobody's saying nothing. But you look at like other people's posts and stuff like that, and a lot of people are commenting, oh, this is great, little fire emojis. But it's like you put something on, it's like nothing. So that was one of the things that was kind of tough to overcome because it's like, man, how come nobody's responding to this in a positive way or at all? So yeah, that's
And to add to that, it also felt like rejection when you see your friends support other artists. They're like posting the other artist page or like big artists, and then they ignore all your stuff. So it's like, what's wrong with my stuff? No one, like you said, no one's saying anything. Our friends aren't reposting anything. That felt like rejection too.
Yeah, one thing that stinks about like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is you need your friends to actively start sharing it the moment you post it. Otherwise, the algorithm's not going to put it out there right away.
Right.
And I have like my close B&I group. So I've been making video clips of my anti-bullying seminars, and I put a lot of time and effort into it just to get like 5 likes. But which is okay. I can always repurpose that later on, just keep repost it on a later date, and eventually it'll get up there. But I totally get that. It does stink when you put that much work into it to get like a couple likes, maybe a comment,
right.
and that's it.
That's true. And and speaking of rejection as well, it's funny because like when I first started doing music, as a solo artist, and I had the song She Likes Me, I was telling Kudos this a little bit ago. Rejection's funny because like you look back maybe years and years ago, and it's like you'll think of a moment where it seemed like rejection at that time, but today it's not. So for instance, the song She Likes Me, I was what was it? It was about 2014, year 2014. I was with my ex at the time, her name was Tiara. We all went to Top Golf, and she had a friend that showed up. Her name was Tiffany, and Tiffany happened to be a daughter of a famous singer who was in the group Guy. And I don't know if you remember Guy, but they were an R&B group. They had a song called Let's Chill, and that was her dad. And I mean, a lot of people, if you're in R&B, you know who that is. So she said, yeah, I'll send you, his email and you can send him the song and maybe he'll help you. I was like, cool. So I sent him She Likes Me, and he ended up responding and he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I like the song. You got potential, he's like, I would do some changing on the writing, some of the vocals. I would tune that. A couple of things when it comes to your punchlines, I would go in. He's like, but what's your intention? Like, are you trying to be an artist or you want to be a writer? Now, at the time, I seen that as rejection, but in fact, today I see it as constructive criticism. But at the time, it hit me because I was like, man, this is like the best song. It's like, why doesn't he love this? You know what I mean? Like, why is he telling me I need to change this and that and the third? He should just really, really enjoy it and then want to move forward, And that's the type of thinking I had. So it was rejection at the time. But it's funny that I look back today and I'm like, man, I wish I responded to him because for him to want to move forward with a conversation, that wasn't rejection. That was him actually inquiring like, hey, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to write? Are you trying to be an artist? Because there could have been more to the conversation, but I took it so bad to where I didn't even respond. And I was just like, yeah, it's just rejection. So that was just interesting, to me.
Yeah. Constructive criticism can be really tough to get because sometimes like I get that as well. You don't know if they're being a jerk to you or you're trying to help you. It's so hard sometimes. But it's easier when it comes from like a trusted person. It's
Right.
harder to get it from somebody who you don't know. That's hard to tell. One thing you can do is send a follow-up message saying, hey, thanks for meeting with me. I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure how to take our conversation. What did you mean by when you said this? Maybe just something to clear that
Right.
up. Otherwise, if you don't follow up, you're just going to be eating yourself up with that. Like, damn.
Absolutely.
But
That's what I'm doing
at
today.
at the same time, I had a guest on. His name was DC Glenn, the Brain Supreme from Tag Team. He was on my podcast a couple episodes ago. He was telling his story, and he was telling me that rejection is your job. In the entertainment industry, it's your job to get rejected.
Mm.
And you got to
Wow.
take that knowledge and, and that's where you're, I don't remember exact words he said. It's been a couple episodes, but you take that and you turn it into a positive, and it was really good. It's like, it makes a lot of sense. But when you accept that as part of your job, your mind just opens right up to everything is possible.
Right.
But it's tough. It's tough getting, especially when you put a lot of work into something. So what are you guys up to now? Are you guys signed to a label? Are you touring with anybody? What's going on with RCC right now?
No, we're not signed to a label right now. Basically what we're doing right now is we are in the process of recording and writing, just making more songs, like creating more, doing content, trying to grow our social media following. That's kind of been the focus right now.
Yeah. How do you grow your social media following as an artist? What's like the tips and tricks you guys are learning to do that?
Consistency is the biggest thing. Like, you got to stay consistent. You got to just put things out there, because there was one video we made that we were all together and we're like, hey, let's just do a video today. We completed the video and we're like, this video's not that good. We're like, it's okay. Like it's whatever, but we just posted it anyways. And ended up going viral, pretty viral, like 500,000 views, and it's still counting. Wow. And then we're like, that's the thing. Like, you can't just psych yourself out. That's what we learned through the process. We're like, you just got to be consistent, put it out there, have a good time with it, and it'll go that way. Because if you try to think about it too much or try to like make the perfect video, somehow it just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, one thing I learned from doing podcasting, if you try to strive for perfection, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out.
No,
People want the real you. They want you.
Exactly.
They don't want something AI generated beat.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. You can definitely overthink some things, man. That's when, it's crazy because, like, if you listen to, lately I've been listening to a lot of artists, like podcasts with, they just tell the background of the music industry, because a lot of times we just see the facade, but they start getting deeper about how, their first hit and different things like that. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of these artists, the first song, the first hit that comes out, a lot of times the artist, that's like their worst song to them. They're like, nah, I hate this song. And somebody has to like really, bend their arm, like, no, this is a song you need to put out. And then they end up putting it out, and it's like their best one. Like, for instance, Eminem, his My Name Is, he said that was the worst song. He never wanted to put that out, but he puts it out. So it's like, it's the same thing with social media. It's like, if you overthink it and you're like, no, this isn't good, I got to do this perfect thing. But then, like Kudo said, when you just put it out and just, whatever, and you don't really care much about it, those are the ones that people usually like connect to. And it's the weirdest thing, so yeah, I don't know what that is, but this is the weirdest thing.
From when you started out and you experienced your rejection with like your first songs out on social media,
right?
Did that hinder you from putting more creative stuff out there? Did that play a role into it? Or did you just stop caring about that and just started throwing whatever out there to see what sticks?
For me, I stopped caring about that like negativity or, trying to please someone, because I think it was hurting me more to not put my music out than for me to just hide. Like, first, my first instinct was just to hide it, to be like, nah, this is just for me. I'm not going to take chances, after feeling rejection. But that hurt more, just to hide my music. So I was like, it's better for me mentally, physically, everything, just for me to express myself and to put my art out there. That's just how I felt about it.
Yeah.
Reach, do you have anything? Or
yeah, I mean, well, it's just, it's just through trial and error, as you start putting things out there. Again, like I was saying before, the things you're trying so hard to, like, oh, this is going to be a viral one. This is going to be, those are just normally just kind of normal videos that people just kind of pass through, or, just occasionally watch a few seconds and then just go away. But it's like, I did a video on TikTok where I put a cartoon, I put what was it signed with same thing? The Notebook.
Notebook.
Yeah, the Notebook. I put the Notebook behind our song. I was just doing it just to do it, and I posted it. And I mean, man, it's got how many thousand followers and views from it? So many.
Like 300,000. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like
I can't get above like 900 on TikTok. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's tough. There's just
But I'm not consistent on it though either. I'm not consistent on it
Right.
either though.
Yeah, but that's just the thing. Like, it's like we've constantly seen that, when you just do something and you're just like, hey, I got an idea. Let's just do it and let's just put it out. Those are the ones that just kind of do things for you. And it's just the weirdest thing. So we just keep trying to do that. That's pretty much what it is.
So when you get like a group of negative comments today on some of your stuff, how do you handle that?
You kind of just got to push through it. You'll either just like the comment or whatever, or, you just don't want to go back and forth with people. Or you just say something positive. I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks for your comment or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like you said, over time, after dealing with rejection after rejection, I think you just kind of get numb to it a little bit, and you just kind of move on like, oh, well, this person, hey, who knows? They might have a bad day or they might not like it because, you find that, your music, everybody's not going to like it. You just can't get 100% of the world to love your stuff. So that's the kind of mindset you just got to go with, like, okay, maybe this isn't for them, and just move on.
So when you're growing your platform right now on social media, did the records companies give you like an idea of what number you need to reach?
I don't know of a number that you need to reach. I don't remember having that conversation about a specific number. Do you remember anything like that?
No, I don't remember a number. Just the way he was talking, I think they would have probably enjoyed somebody being in like hundreds of thousands of followers, is something like that. So, yeah.
Now, is there a way they can tell? Because I have friends on Instagram and some of them bought their followers.
Yeah.
Just because their likes and comments don't match the number of what they say as following. I guess our record companies, what I'm trying to say is, how do you get on their radar? And I wonder how they can tell what's true follower count or not. Because because like my friend, he has a page and he does it for fun. But a lot of the comments are bots, but you have to sit there forever. For a record executive, that would just take up too much time. So I guess this is more of a statement than a question because it's not really going anywhere. But it's like, I wonder how these record companies figure out who's real, who's legit, because if you didn't know that on Instagram, you can go Google Instagram, buy followers for like $100. You can get like, a couple 100,000 followers.
Right.
It's crazy. So
no, yeah.
Any advice you have for people that are dealing with rejection in their life? It could be anything. It could be with their work, could be with their art. What's your advice?
I would say for me, it's just remembering why I'm doing this. Because when I'm writing my music, I'm not thinking about how someone's going to perceive it or pleasing a certain person or this or that. I'm literally just doing something that I love and I'm expressing myself and just fulfilling a dream, and it makes my life worth it to do stuff like that. So I think remembering why you're doing it and not the result of what's going to be later, I think that for me, that's everything.
Yeah. No, I say, just take it in stride, and don't take it too personal. Like I said, some people are just having a bad day and your video just happened to pop up and they just, and some people just like to troll, but it's always a testament when people, you can turn it around. Cause like a lot of times, you remember the story where the nerd kid got picked on in high school and then he ends up being your boss. So it's like, a lot of those situations can turn around, and the same person that's picking on you might be your biggest fan, in the future, whatever you're doing, so yeah, just remember why you're doing it, the why. And
yeah, that's good advice. And then, some of those comments could just be bots as well.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you guys saw those TikTok farms where they have all these cell phones hooked up and people are just arguing with bots. They're not even real people.
Really? I've never seen that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I think you can just type in Google TikTok farm and add bots to it. You'll see pictures of it. It's just crazy. Kudo and Reach, I want to thank you for coming on today. If people want to find you and follow you on social media, since that's what you're trying to grow, how can they do that?
Yeah. So you could either just look us up on Instagram, RCC_music. It's RCC_music. And then also on Facebook, you can just type in RCC or RCC_music. Pretty much the same throughout all platforms. And even on TikTok as well, RCC_music. So yeah. And then we're on all streaming platforms as well. So you just type in RCC and then you'll see 3 siblings. And yeah.
All right. Those watching on YouTube, you saw a link go across your screen. And if you're listening, I will post that on the video description. Again, guys, thanks so much for coming on today.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having us.